The day my mother told me I'd never amount to anything without a man was also the day I stopped being her daughter. I remember standing in our marble-floored foyer, my hands shaking as I held the crumpled wedding invitation she'd thrown at my face moments earlier. My name is Athena, and I was 21 when my family held a funeral for my girlhood. You ungrateful child! Mother's voice echoed through our mansion. Do you have any idea what you're throwing away? Richard comes from money. He has connections. He could give you everything. I straightened my spine, the way I'd practiced in the mirror. Everything except choice. Choice? She laughed, that horrible crystalline sound that always preceded her cruelest moments. What choice? To end up alone? To shame this family? Father stood in the corner, silent as always, examining his whiskey glass like it held answers he'd never share. My brother Easton lounged against the doorframe, smirking. He knew what was coming. Virginia, Father finally spoke, using Mother's first name, always a bad sign. Perhaps if we gave her time. Time? Mother's pearl necklace clinked as she whirled to face him. We've invested everything in this match. The dowry is ready. The arrangements are made. And now she wants to throw it all away because of some childish notion of independence? I clutched my college acceptance letter in my pocket. Full scholarship to law school. I'd hidden it from them for weeks, knowing it would come to this. I won't marry him, I said, my voice stronger than I felt. I won't marry anyone you choose for me. Mother's face went eerily calm. She walked to the antique secretary desk, the one she'd always promised would be my wedding gift, and pulled out a thick envelope. Easton, she called. Come here. My brother sauntered over, that perpetual smirk widening. This was meant to be Athena's dowry, $2 million in bonds and securities. She handed him the envelope. Since she's decided to disgrace us, I'm giving it to you. Invest it. Show her what a real dean can do with opportunity. My stomach lurched. That's my money. Nothing in this house is yours, Mother cut in. You've made your choice. Now you can live with it. Easton thumbed through the envelope's contents, his eyes gleaming. Don't worry, little sister. I'll make it worth 10 times this much. Unlike you, I know how to play the game. Get out, Mother said, her voice ice. Pack whatever you bought with your own money, if you have any, and get out of my house. When you come crawling back, remember this moment. Remember that you chose this. I ran upstairs, grabbed my pre-packed bag, I'd known this day was coming, and called my best friend Zoe. I'm on my way, she said before I could speak. She'd known, too. I walked out the front door without looking back. No one came to stop me. No one called my name. 13 years later, I'm sitting in my corner office, watching an incoming call light up my phone screen. The number isn't saved, but I recognize it instantly. How could I not? I've been waiting for this call since the day I left. My assistant knocks and enters. Ms. Dean, your 3 o'clock with the merger team is ready. I hold up a finger, still watching the phone ring. Each vibration feels like victory. Should I tell them you'll be delayed? She asks. I smile, remembering Mother's last words. Remember that you chose this. No, I say, letting the call go to voicemail. Let my brother wait a little longer. I've been waiting 13 years. He can spare a few minutes. The phone stops ringing. One missed call from Easton Dean. I stand, smoothing my designer suit, the kind Mother always said I'd need a husband to afford. Tell the team I'll be right there. And Sarah, when my brother calls back, and he will, Tell him I'm in a meeting about his company's future. He'll understand soon enough. I grab my briefcase, the weight of 13 years of calculated patience finally lifting. The game Mother thought I couldn't play, I've already won. They just don't know it yet. Another rejection. Zoe tossed me a beer across her tiny studio apartment. It was my temporary home, and my 3rd month of being told I wasn't qualified enough for entry-level positions. They all want experience, I said, collapsing onto the futon that doubled as my bed. But how do I get experience when no one will hire me? Then we'll make our own experience. Zoe pulled out her laptop. Look, this coffee shop is hiring, and this bookstore needs a weekend clerk. Take both. That's how it started. 3 jobs, coffee shop at dawn, law firm filing clerk by day, bookstore at night. Sleep became a luxury I couldn't afford, but every penny went into my law school fund. I learned to survive on energy drinks and determination. 6 months into this routine, I ran into Richard, my almost husband, at a networking event. I was serving coffee, wearing a uniform that smelled like burnt espresso. Athena? His voice dripped with fake concern. Oh my, Virginia told me you were going through a phase. I kept my eyes on the coffee pot. What can I get you? Come on, don't be like that. He leaned closer, speaking softly. You know, my offer still stands. 1 call to your mother and this little rebellion can end. No more serving coffee to pay rent. I looked him dead in the eye and smiled. I'd rather serve coffee forever than spend 1 minute as your wife. That night, I told Zoe about the encounter while we counted our tips. You know what? She said, spreading newspapers across her kitchen table. We're doing this wrong. Look at the business section. While we're scraping by, people are making millions moving money around. We spent that night studying stock market basics. Then, every night after, we learned about investments, market trends, startup funding. Between coffee runs and law classes, I devoured financial books like they were oxygen. 3 years later, I passed the bar exam. Zoe had become a certified financial advisor. We pooled our savings, $50,000 between us, and started buying penny stocks. Holy shit, Zoe said one morning, staring at her screen. That tech startup we bought into, they just got acquired. Our shares tripled overnight. We reinvested everything. When we hit $200,000, we started buying into struggling local businesses, turning them around, selling them for profit. Our first $1 million came faster than anyone expected. That's when I saw it. Easton's face splashed across Business Weekly's cover. Young entrepreneur revolutionizes tech industry. I read the article 3 times, my coffee going cold. He'd used my dowry, my $2 million, as seed money for his startup. The company was now worth $50 million. Athena! Zoe found me still staring at the magazine hours later. You okay? He used my money, I said quietly, to build an empire he's taking credit for. Then let's build a bigger one. Zoe grabbed her laptop. Look at his company's public filings. See these subsidiaries? They're bleeding money. He's expanding too fast, taking too many risks. I smiled, remembering Mother's words about knowing how to play the game. Show me everything. We worked through the night, analyzing Easton's business structure. Every victory he claimed in the press, we found 3 hidden failures. He was building a house of cards, and sooner or later, it would fall. We could buy shares, Zoe suggested, through shell companies, build a position slowly. No, I said, closing the laptop. Not yet. First, we need to be untouchable. Build something so solid that when we move against him, there's no way back. Over the next decade, that's exactly what we did. Our investment firm grew into a powerhouse. I kept my name out of the press, operating through layers of corporations. Let Easton have his magazine covers. I was building something better. Leverage. The phone on my desk buzzed. Zoe walked in, holding another magazine. You need to see this. The headline read, Tech Wunderkind Easton Dean faces federal investigation. I traced my finger over the word investigation. Looks like the House of Cards is finally shaking. What's our play? Zoe asked. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed again. Mother's number. After 13 years of silence, they were both calling on the same day. I smiled. Now we wait. Let them come to us. The game is finally getting interesting. He's not the man you think he is. Paris, Easton's ex-wife, sat across from me in a downtown cafe, stirring her untouched coffee. Her designer bag was a knockoff, her manicure chipped. He's not the man anyone thinks he is. I hadn't expected her call, but curiosity won out. Why are you telling me this? Because he's about to drag your parents down with him. She pulled out her phone, showed me photos. These are from last month. Cocaine, escorts, gambling. He's burning through money faster than his company can make it. And you're showing me this out of kindness? I raised an eyebrow. I'm showing you because I have a daughter. Her voice cracked. Raylan. She's 4. Easton hasn't paid child support in 6 months. Says the company's going through a cash flow issue. I studied the photos. Easton at private clubs, white powder visible on glass tables. How bad is it? Bad enough that Griffin, his business partner, is jumping ship. They had a screaming match last week. Griffin knows the books are cooked. My phone buzzed. Zoe's text read, Turn on Channel 7 now. I pulled up the news on my phone. Easton was giving a press conference outside his company headquarters, all perfect teeth and practiced charm. These allegations are baseless, he was saying. Dean Tech is stronger than ever. Our Q4 projections. What a load of shit, Paris muttered. The projections are all fake. He's been inflating numbers for years. I switched off the phone. Why doesn't Griffin expose him? Because your mother paid him off. Paris laughed bitterly. Virginia still thinks she can save her precious son. She's been liquidating assets, selling jewelry, anything to keep his image intact. That explained the recent sale of our childhood home. I'd tracked the property records, wondering why they'd downsize. How much does he need? I asked. $2.4 million by end of month, or the whole House of Cards collapses. Federal investigators are circling. Griffin's silence won't last forever. Almost exactly the amount of my dowry, plus 13 years' interest. The universe had a sense of humor. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. Aren't you going to answer that? Paris asked. No need. It's either my mother or Easton. They're running out of options. Virginia still talks about you, you know. Says you'll come crawling back eventually, that no woman can make it alone. I smiled, thinking of my firm's latest acquisition, a controlling stake in Dean Tech through various shell companies. Easton didn't know it yet, but I owned 51% of his voting shares. How much does Easton know about my current situation? I asked. Nothing. He thinks you're still serving coffee somewhere. Paris leaned forward. But I did my research before coming here. Dean and Green Investment Group. That's you and your friend Zoe, isn't it? The mysterious firm that's been buying up tech companies? You've done your homework. Had to make sure you could help before showing my cards. She pulled out more photos, documents, bank statements, emails. Everything you need to bury him. In exchange, I want you to set up a trust fund for Raylan. Make sure she's taken care of. Before I could respond, the cafe's TV flashed breaking news. Griffin's face filled the screen. Dean Tech, CEO, under investigation for securities fraud. My phone exploded with notifications. Zoe. Holy shit, it's happening. Then another. Your parents just walked into our lobby. Paris watched my face. Looks like the game is starting. I stood, leaving cash for the coffee. Paris, the trust fund for Raylan. Consider it done. Not because you gave me these... I gestured at the photos, but because no child should pay for their father's sins. What are you going to do about your parents? I checked my reflection in the window, straightened my jacket. I'm going to do what they never thought I could. I'm going to save the family name by destroying my brothers. They're going to hate you for this. I smiled, thinking of that day 13 years ago. They already hate me. The difference is, now I don't care. My phone buzzed one final time. Mother's message. We need to talk. It's about Easton, please. Game on, I thought. Let's see who taught who how to play. They looked smaller, somehow, sitting in my office. Mother's designer dress was last season's, father's suit slightly worn at the elbows. The mighty had fallen, and they hadn't even hit bottom yet. Athena, Mother started, her voice lacking its usual imperial tone. We wouldn't be here if you had any other option? I finished, not looking up from my laptop. I know. The question is, why should I care? Father cleared his throat. Your brother is in trouble. Easton's always in trouble. The difference is, this time his trouble comes with federal charges. He needs $2.4 million, Mother said quickly, like ripping off a bandage. To stabilize things. I finally looked up. Stabilize things? You mean pay off his cocaine dealers, or maybe silence Griffin about the cooked books? Mother's face went pale. How did you... I know everything. I closed my laptop. Every party, every escort, every gram of cocaine. I know about the falsified earnings reports, the shell companies, the offshore accounts. I even know about Raylan's unpaid child support. Then you understand. Father leaned forward. The family name. The family name? I laughed. The same name you stripped from me 13 years ago? That was different. Mother snapped, a flash of her old self returning. You were being rebellious. Easton just made some business mistakes. Mistakes? I pressed a button on my desk phone. Sarah, please send in Chris. The door opened, and Chris Owens walked in, one of the top corporate lawyers in the country. Mother's face went slack with recognition. Chris, I smiled. Please explain to my parents what we discussed. He sat down, opening a leather portfolio. Mrs. Dean, Mr. Dean, 13 years ago, you allocated a dowry of $2 million to your son instead of your daughter. Under state law, this creates an interesting situation. What situation? Father asked. A dowry, once promised, creates a verbal contract. By redirecting those funds without consent, you've opened yourself to a lawsuit for breach of contract, plus 13 years of compound interest. Mother's hands began to shake. You wouldn't. The total amount, Chris continued, comes to exactly $2.4 million. Fascinating coincidence, isn't it? This is absurd. Father stood up. We came here to save this family. No, I cut in. You came here because you need money. The same money you stole from me. The same money Easton wasted on drugs and parties while building his house of cards. He's still your brother, Mother whispered, And I was still your daughter. I stood, walking to my window. But that didn't stop you from throwing me out, did it? Chris pulled out more papers. I've prepared 2 options. Option 1, you sign over all claims to the original dowry plus interest, and Ms. Dean here considers the matter settled. Option 2, we take this to court, where your son's activities will become very public record. Mother's face hardened. You've been planning this for 13 years. I turned back to them. Every day since you told me I'd never amount to anything without a man. Funny how things turn out, isn't it? If we sign this, Father asked, you'll help Easton? No, I'll help the family name. There's a difference. I sat back down. Easton made his choices, just like I made mine. Mother stood suddenly. This is blackmail. This is business, I corrected. Something you always said women couldn't understand. Chris, show them out. They have 24 hours to decide. As they reached the door, Mother turned back. We should never have sent you to law school. I smiled. You didn't. I did that all on my own. Just like I built this company. Just like I bought controlling interest in Easton's firm 6 months ago. Their faces froze. Father grabbed Mother's arm for support. Oh, didn't Easton tell you? I picked up my phone. I own 51% of Dean Tech. Have for months. So really, you're not here to save him. You're here because I allowed you to be. You're enjoying this, Mother accused. No, Mother, I'm not enjoying this. I'm winning this. There's a difference. I nodded to Chris. 24 hours. Choose wisely. They left, broken and bewildered. Chris stayed behind. Was that necessary? He asked. No, I admitted. But neither was what they did to me. Sometimes karma needs a little help. My phone buzzed. Zoe. Easton's here. Should I send him up? I texted back. No, let him wait. The game's not over yet. You can't do this to me. Easton paced my office like a caged animal, his designer suit wrinkled, dark circles under his eyes. I'm your brother. Funny how you remember that now. I watched him from behind my desk. Where was that brotherly love when you took my dowry? That was Mother's decision. And you fought so hard against it, didn't you? I pulled up documents on my screen. Tell me, how much cocaine did my 2 million buy? He stopped pacing. Who told you? Paris? Griffin? Does it matter? I turned the screen toward him. Your company's bleeding money, Easton. The FBI is circling. Griffin's ready to talk. And now you need exactly 2.4 million to make it all go away. I can pay you back. He ran his hands through his disheveled hair. Once the new investors. There are no new investors. I stood up. Because as majority shareholder, I've blocked all new funding rounds. The color drained from his face. What did you say? Dean and Green Investment Group owns 51% of your voting shares. We've been buying them through shell companies for months. Every time you needed quick cash, we were there, scooping up equity at fire sale prices. That's impossible. I would have known. Like you knew about the federal investigation, or Paris documenting your cocaine habit. Face it, brother, you're not as smart as you think you are. Zoe knocked and entered, carrying a thick folder. The final numbers you asked for. Thanks. I took the folder. Easton, meet my business partner Zoe. Remember when Mother said I'd never succeed without a man? Turns out 2 women can build an empire just fine. He collapsed into a chair. What do you want? Everything. I opened the folder. You're going to sign over your remaining shares. You're going to resign as CEO, and you're going to pay every penny of Raylan's back child support. You'll destroy me. No, you destroyed yourself. I'm just here to collect the pieces. My phone buzzed. Chris. Your parents are back, with their lawyer. Send them up, I replied, then looked at Easton. Perfect timing. The family reunion isn't complete without them. Minutes later, mother and father walked in with their lawyer, a nervous-looking man clutching a briefcase. Well? I asked. Have you made your decision? Mother's lawyer stepped forward. We've reviewed your proposal. There are concerns about the validity of... Save it. I cut him off. Chris entered, carrying his own documents. Mrs. Dean, Mr. Dean, while you were deciding, we filed for an emergency injunction. Your assets are now frozen pending investigation into the misappropriation of dowry funds. You can't do that, their lawyer protested. I already did. Chris smiled. Would you like to see the judge's signature? This is what you want? Mother's voice shook. To destroy your family? My family? I laughed. You threw me out. Remember? Pack whatever you bought with your own money. Those were your exact words. Well, Mother, look around. I bought all of this with my own money. Sign the papers, Father said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at him. Gordon, Mother gasped. Sign them, he repeated. She won. The game's over. It was never a game, I corrected. Games are fun. This was survival. Easton stood up. I'm not signing anything. Then I'll call the FBI right now. I picked up my phone. I'm sure they'd love to hear about the offshore accounts. His shoulders slumped. He knew he was beaten. One by one, they signed. Mother's hand trembled. Father looked 1,000 years old. Easton couldn't meet my eyes. Congratulations, Mother spat. You've gotten your revenge. No. I gathered the signed papers. Revenge would be leaving you all penniless. Instead, I'm offering you a chance. There's a small investment property in the suburbs. 3 bedrooms, modest but comfortable. It's yours, rent-free for 6 months. Time to rebuild. Why? Easton asked. Because I'm not you. Any of you. I handed the property details to Father. But, understand this, if you ever try to contact me again, if you ever speak my name in public, the deal is off. I've learned to live without family. Have you? They left in silence, broken but alive. Zoe waited until the door closed. Was that mercy or cruelty? She asked. I looked out my window at the city below. Neither. It was justice. They taught me how to destroy people. I taught myself when to stop. The news broke at exactly 9 a.m. I watched from my office as every major network picked up the story. Tech CEO steps down amid fraud allegations. Easton's face was everywhere, but not the polished magazine cover version. This time they used his mugshot. Griffin talked, Zoe said, scrolling through her phone. He gave them everything. The cooked books, the drug parties, all of it. Of course he did. I adjusted my emerald green dress. Tonight's charity gala wouldn't wait for family drama. He was just waiting for the right moment. My phone lit up with Paris's message. Have you seen the news? They arrested him this morning. Is Raylan okay? I texted back. She doesn't know yet. I told her he's on a business trip. I picked up my desk phone. Sarah, contact my lawyer. I want to set up that trust fund for Raylan today. Make it anonymous. The gala that evening was exactly as expected. Crystal chandeliers, champagne fountains, and whispered conversations that stopped when I walked by. These were the same people who'd laughed at me 13 years ago, who'd sided with Mother when she cast me out. "Did you hear?" a woman in red whispered too loudly to her friend. "She owned his company the whole time, waited until he was desperate, then struck, like a snake," her friend replied. "I always knew there was something cold about her." I smiled, raising my champagne glass in their direction. They scurried away like scared mice. "Enjoying yourself?" Zoe appeared beside me, radiant in blue. "More than I should," I admitted. "Is it wrong that part of me loves watching them squirm?" "After what they did to you, I'd say you're showing remarkable restraint." A commotion at the entrance drew everyone's attention. Mother had arrived, clearly uninvited, still wearing the designer clothes from her glory days. But now they looked desperate, like costume jewelry trying to pass for real diamonds. "Athena!" she called out, her voice carrying across the ballroom. "How dare you!" Security started moving toward her, but I held up my hand. "Let her speak. She's earned that much." "You destroyed him!" She stumbled forward, grief and rage making her unsteady. "Your own brother is in jail because of you." "No, Mother. Easton is in jail because he committed fraud. The fact that I owned the company he defrauded is just... what did you call it? Karma." The room had gone silent, hundreds of Seattle's elite watching the drama unfold. "We're your family," she pleaded. "Were," I corrected. "You lost the right to call me family the day you chose him over me. Now please leave before security removes you." As they led her out, I heard her final shot. "You've become a monster!" "No," I said quietly, though she couldn't hear. "I became successful. You just can't tell the difference." Later that night, I drove to a modest house in the suburbs. Through the window, I could see a little girl, Raylan, playing with her dolls while Paris read on the couch. I left the trust fund paperwork in their mailbox. Inside was enough money to send Raylan to any college she chose, to give her the chances her father had squandered. My phone buzzed, a news alert. Dean Tech to be restructured under new management. Below it, a message from Griffin. "Thank you. He had this coming." I didn't reply. Instead, I texted Chris. "Make sure the restructuring preserves jobs for the innocent employees. This isn't their fault. Already done," he replied. "But the board wants to know. Will you take over as CEO?" I looked back at Raylan's window. She was laughing, innocent of the chaos her father had caused, unaware of how close she'd come to losing everything. "No," I texted back. "Hire someone qualified, someone who earned it. That's what I would have wanted 13 years ago." Zoe called as I drove home. "You okay?" "Ask me tomorrow," I said. "Tonight I just want to remember why I did this. Because they deserved it." No. I watched the city lights blur past my window. Because I deserved better. And sometimes you have to burn down the old house to build a new one. "Speaking of houses," she said, "your parents moved into that investment property today." I smiled, thinking of Mother's grand mansion, now sold to pay Easton's legal fees. "Good. Let them learn what starting over feels like." "The property isn't working out," Father said, standing awkwardly in my office 2 months later. He looked older, more worn. "Your mother, she's not adjusting well." "That's not my problem." I kept typing, refusing to look up. "She hasn't left the house in weeks. The neighbors." He trailed off. "The neighbors what? Don't invite her to their country club? Don't ask her to chair their charity committees?" "Please, His voice cracked. We need more time. I finally looked at him. The agreement was 6 months. You have 4 left. And after that? After that, you pay market rate or leave. That's how the real world works. Mother burst through the door, Sarah trailing apologetically behind her. I'm sorry, Ms. Dean. She wouldn't wait. It's fine. I waved Sarah away. Let's hear what she has to say. Mother looked terrible. Her carefully maintained appearance had crumbled, hair unkempt, clothes wrinkled, makeup hastily applied. You want a public apology? She demanded. Fine, I'll do it. I'll tell everyone I was wrong. Just help us. I leaned back. Sit down, both of you. They sat. Father reached for Mother's hand, but she pulled away. Let me be clear, I said, pulling out a folder. I don't want your apology. I want your signature on this document. What is it? Father asked. A formal statement acknowledging that you illegally redirected my dowry to Easton, resulting in its loss through his criminal activities. It includes a public retraction of the statement, "You'll never amount to anything without a man." Mother's face went red. You're still fixated on that? After all these years? Those words shaped my life. I stood up, walking to my window. Every time I wanted to quit, every time I thought about giving up, I remembered them. They became my fuel. And now you want to humiliate us? She spat. No, Mother. I want you to face what you did. Really face it. I turned back to them. Sign this, and the property is yours. Permanently. No rent, no mortgage. Just your signature on the truth. Father reached for the paper, but Mother grabbed his hand. Virginia, he said softly. We have to. I can't, she whispered. I can't admit. I was wrong. Then I can't help you. I sat back down. Pride or shelter, your choice. Is this revenge or cruelty? Father asked. It's accountability. I pushed the paper toward them. Something this family never taught me about. Mother stood up shakily. You think you've won, don't you? Built your empire, destroyed your brother, humbled your parents. Does it make you happy? Happy? I laughed. This was never about happiness. This was about survival, about proving that a woman doesn't need a man, or a family's approval, or a dowry to succeed. And what about Easton? Your own brother? Easton made his choices, just like you made yours the day you threw me out. I nodded at the document. Now, make another choice. Father picked up the pen. Mother tried to stop him, but he shrugged her off. Gordon, don't. Enough, he said, signing his name. We did this, all of it. Now we pay for it. Mother collapsed into her chair, tears streaming down her face. For a moment I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. Your turn. I slid the paper to her. Her hand shook as she picked up the pen. Will this make you love us again? No, I said honestly, but it might help me forgive you someday. She signed. Chris appeared with copies, notarized everything. Within an hour it was done. They had their house. I had my truth. As they stood to leave, Mother turned back. Was any of it worth it? The revenge, the pain, the years of planning? I thought about the little girl I'd been, crying on Zoe's futon, about the woman I'd become, built from their rejection and my own determination. Yes, I said simply, because now every young woman who reads your statement will know that success doesn't require a man. It requires courage. They left quietly, defeated but housed. Zoe came in after they were gone. You okay? I looked at their signatures, still wet on the page. Ask me in another 13 years. The statement goes public tomorrow, she reminded me. I nodded, thinking of all the daughters out there, fighting their own battles against family expectations. Good, I said. Let the truth do what it does best. Set people free. Your mother had a stroke. Zoe stood in my office doorway, holding her phone. She's at Seattle General. I kept typing. And Athena. Her voice held a warning. Don't be that person. Which person? The one who doesn't run to comfort people who threw her away. The person who becomes what they hated. I stopped typing. The words hung in the air between us, heavy with truth. The doctors say it's serious, she continued. Stress-induced? Of course it is. I stood up, walking to my window. The city sprawled below, indifferent to our dramas. Did Father call you? No, Paris did. She's there with Raylan. They were dropping off thank you cards for the trust fund when it happened. My phone buzzed. A news alert. Former tech CEO accepts plea deal. Easton's downfall was complete, yet it brought no joy. What would you do? I asked Zoe. I'd remember who I am, not who they tried to make me be. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and regret. Father sat alone in the waiting room, looking small in a plastic chair. He didn't seem surprised to see me. She's asking for you, he said quietly, in her lucid moments. Mother lay pale against white sheets, tubes snaking from her arms. Her carefully maintained image had finally crumbled completely. Athena. Her voice was weak. You came. Don't read too much into it. She tried to smile. Still angry. Good. Anger kept you alive. No. Determination kept me alive. Anger just kept me focused. I saw... She paused, breathing heavily. Saw your interview in Business Weekly. The one about women in finance? She nodded. You said I taught you your most valuable lesson. You did. I sat in the chair beside her bed. You taught me that the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. Are you? Her eyes found mine. Indifferent? Before I could answer, Paris appeared in the doorway with Ray Lynn. The little girl clutched a handmade card. I'm sorry. Paris started to retreat. We didn't know. Stay, I said. Mother, meet your granddaughter, the one you never asked about. Rylin approached cautiously, holding out her card. I made this for you. Mommy says you're sick. Mother's hands shook as she took the card. Inside, a child's drawing showed a family, stick figures holding hands. She has your eyes, Mother whispered. She has her own eyes, I corrected, and her own future, one where no one will tell her she needs a man to succeed. Mother's monitors beeped steadily. I was wrong, she said finally, about everything. I know. But you still came. Not for you, I stood up. For me, to make sure I didn't become you. Raylan tugged at my sleeve. Are you really my aunt? Mommy says you're the one who helped us when Daddy went away. I knelt down to her level. Yes, I'm your aunt, and I'll always help you. Not because we're family, but because it's right. Will you tell me how you got so strong? I looked at Mother, our eyes meeting over Rylin's head. Someone once told me I couldn't succeed without a man, so I proved them wrong. Mother closed her eyes, tears sliding down her cheeks. I have to go, I told Rylin, but I'll see you soon. Keep drawing. You're good at it." At the door, I turned back. "Mother." She opened her eyes. "I'm not angry anymore, but I'm not sorry either. Remember that." Outside, the city hummed with life. Zoe waited by my car. "Well?" she asked. "Well, what?" "Did you find what you were looking for?" I thought about Mother's tears, Raylin's innocent questions, the empire I'd built from rejection. "I found something better," I said. "I found out I don't need their approval anymore. I don't need anything from them." "That's the thing about revenge." Zoe smiled. "Sometimes it shows you what you've outgrown." My phone buzzed. Another magazine wanted an interview about women breaking barriers in finance. You know what? I handed Zoe my phone. "Tell them I'll do it, but I want to focus on the future, not the past. There's a little girl out there who needs to know she can be anything." "Without a man?" Zoe grinned. "Without anyone's permission," I corrected, getting into my car. "That's the real revenge. Living well, living free, and holding the door open for those coming after you.